When I first began my spiritual journey, I was like, I have all of the answers. These are the hacks, the facts of life. Life is gonna get so much easier, and life did get so much easier. But my issue was, it didn't look any different than anybody else's who was still caught up in the matrix. So this video is basically how I not only felt internally good, but how I implemented practicing these insights and tools into my everyday life and was able to get into the position I am in now. I have 2 successful businesses. My relationships are in the best place that they have been. Finally, my money is starting to flow, and I'm doing not only a good job of bringing it in, right, but also in maintaining and growing it. And I think that it's time that these little hacks be shared so that way more and more people can raise it up. At the end of the day, if you on your spiritual journey, you know that this is bigger than you, it's bigger than me, and we got stuff to do, okay? So we about to get into it. My name is Janaya. By the way, I have a couple of notes that I'm gonna be sharing as you all get to know me. We're gonna get more into my past and how I came into these insights. But for now, this video is gonna be very much so to the point. I wanna give y'all the blueprint to the game of life. If you're on your spiritual journey, that one, the mind is all, that most of what we experience in this life is a simulation, that you are a spirit having a human experience, and that, you have the power to change or create that experience for yourself. And when life starts life and it gets a little bit difficult to apply the knowings and almost seems unrealistic, but I'm telling you, you can do it. And I'm gonna tell you how I did it. All right, so we're decoding the game of life, right? This is how you master your life while you're in your spiritual era. We all know that dark night of the soul, that shit can drain your energy because it destabilizes your reality, which is the point, right? We want to wake up from the dream and become aware of oh, here are the pieces, here are the cheat codes, here's what's going on, and we want to use those cheat codes so that way we could get into the place that we are meant to be in and do the things that we're meant to do here. So number one thing is you gotta create your avatar. You must know your identity. You must master yourself, and you also have to be attractive. Well, you don't have to be attractive, but I'm gonna tell you that however you identify yourself, that is what will be attracted to you. So when it comes to your identity, if we are speaking on a subconscious level, this is one of the deepest programs within our body, is who we are, right? Within our body, within our consciousness. And you have to be very clear on who you are. And if you are aware of the subconscious mind, there is an identity that was placed on you by this world. But as you become aware of these teachings of the subconscious mind, a lot of people talk a lot about the subconscious mind. Well, how do you get what you want into it? You have to either be repetitive, you have to experience some kind of trauma where something happened, you I am not that girl because I am not experiencing that shit again. Or it has to be some kind of symbol. Every time you see this, like the Superman sign, you put your cape on, all right? But you need to identify who you are turning into, all right? I am someone that helps people help themselves. And so because I bring the best out of people, that's the energy that I embody. When someone is around me, I don't care if it is a murderer or somebody into whatever kind of lifestyle. If I'm walking through a door, this man will turn into a gentleman, okay? And he will open the door for me because I identify myself as that girl. I am that girl, all right? So you need to know who you are. And I want to let you know that you can be many versions of yourself. We are told you can't be that person and that person, but sometimes my Valley girl comes out, right? Sometimes I really am yes, girl. And sometimes I'm really bruh, do not fucking play with me. Just because in different spaces I'm a different version of myself, don't mean that all of these aren't part of me. So when it comes to your identity, make sure you own all aspects of who you are, because that is going to be what attracts life circumstances and people to you, okay? Another thing about identity that you need to focus on is mastering yourself. This means physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. All of these areas of yourself, you need to study. You need to get very familiar with who you are. Figure out your purposes, your talent. Figuring out what those things are, your talents, your God-given gifts, or however you want to identify this great, amazing power that runs throughout all that is. Whatever you were given, whatever little sprinkle is in your blueprint, you need to figure those things out and you need to learn how to master them. Create your avatar and make it a damn good player, okay? You want to be in the game for the long term if you're trying to win it, okay? This is not a short game, this is a long one. You want to make sure that you are the most prepared, you got the most little power-ups, you got the most little tools and assets and all of this, that, and the third. And that's gonna bring me right to main characters and CPUs, okay? For those of you who are not familiar, a CPU is main characters and NPCs. A CPU is a computer, but an NPC is a non-player character. And just in case you're not sure what that is, like if you ever played Grand Theft Auto, you know how it's like the little people who be walking around on the corners and nobody is really controlling those characters. They're just a part of the game. When you are playing the game of life, like once your mind hops out of whatever reality you are in, so that way you can see the big picture, pardon me. Whenever that happens, you need to remember that you are the main character. I don't care who you're tied to. This is just another step in your story. I don't care who's tied to you, meaning this is not your mom's, your boyfriend, husband. This is not your child's game, all right? You are the main character and you have to make decisions for yourself, because at the end of the day, when you don't consider yourself, anybody that could benefit from you is gonna be benefiting at a lower degree of what you're capable of doing for them. Everybody at some point has been a people pleaser. If we're all connected, you know that on some level you're meant to be taking care of people. And if you want to be the best at what you do, you've got to make sure that you are at your best. And so when it comes to making decisions, baby, consider yourself first. So you need to make decisions that build you up. Do not consider the job first. Do not consider the family first. Don't consider your soulmates first. If anything, consider what you call great, amazing God, the universe, spirit. Consider that first, but also realize that that is within you, and to give yourself praise and honor is to praise and honor the best part of God that God trusted you with, okay? That is you making sure that you can be the person that you're meant to be here, is by showing up for yourself, honoring yourself, praising yourself, putting yourself in the best position. You've got to love yourself like a good mom would their child. Oh, and one more thing that I wanted to mention is not surrendering your power by not making a decision. Now, technically, not making a decision is a decision, but if you do that, you should do so intentionally, right? Like that should be an act of surrender to something higher than you. But if you're not intentional with it, that's you giving your power without knowing where it's going. You know, wherever your energy goes, it's like you're making an investment in that, and you want to make sure that you have an energetic return that is going to help to sustain you, versus something where you're just leaving it up to someone who should, I might add, put things in a position where it works for them. And when you don't make a decision, you forfeit the opportunity to have things go in your favor. Take your time. You always have time. Remember that your ability to create even an outcome by choosing this or that or many of these things is it. Don't be afraid that you have to make a decision. Make one, and that's where your faith come in. If this is for you and you're a spiritual girly like me, then this is one of the best practices of you learning how to trust yourself. All right, so when it comes to the game of life, you gotta know the mission. You gotta know what you're here for. The mission at the end of the day is like what we're doing. Like if we were playing Mario. It's like we gotta rescue Princess Peach and then get her to the castle so that way she can rule the kingdom in the best way, right? We gotta, one, get you to the version of yourself you're meant to be so you can go on your hero's journey and then complete whatever mission you were born here to fulfill, right? So knowing what your purpose is really gonna be like your guiding light. Like that's gonna be your North Star. At the end of the day, when you focus on or figure out what that is, that's when you will feel like you always have something to do. Like there's always a next step for you. If you have not yet found your purpose, which we can talk about really quickly, essentially your purpose, if you follow the things that are aligned, right? And we're gonna talk about your intuition soon, but if you follow the things that are aligned to you, meaning like something that really intrigues you internally, like just thinking about that thing or doing that thing, it gives you like a stirring, or it gives you extra energy, or you're just naturally great at this thing, or doing this thing over and over does not stop you. It's a part of your purpose. It's one of the things that you're meant to do. And so continuing on doing that, or continuing to look into this, whatever that thing is for you, that's gonna lead you closer and closer and closer. So whatever that is, make more time for it until the steps are revealed. But I'm telling you, finding out what those things are, those are the breadcrumbs that are gonna lead you in the right direction. A lot of times when it comes to depression, because I know that even as spiritual people and all of the tools that we're given, it's still so hard sometimes to maintain a positive mindset. And the truth is, it's not so much about always being positive, it's always knowing that you can flip the switch on a circumstance. If you know that life goes up and down, you gotta know that the low points are gonna come too, where your energy is low or where your mood is low, and those don't have to be the same thing. And the point is, sometimes we get really stuck in these lows, and those lows can kind of plateau and go on for a long time, a very seemingly low time. And in this time, usually what has gotten me out of it is coming back to this purpose, back to my mission, because I always can do one thing to get me closer to it. And like I said, going back to that purpose, going back to those things that are like innately for you, those always have a way of stirring your energy up, putting things into motion. And especially when you share those things, or when you're consistent with those things, even if it's just a for you thing, even if that thing is, you know, doing some inner work and figuring out what it is for you that you are great at, right? All of that is going to make you feel empowered again, because you'll have more energy again, and you're going to start to see more of those breadcrumbs, more of the things that are leading you into, you know, fulfilling this level of the game. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the challenges and the levels of this game. So in this, we're talking about cycles repeating, learning lessons, having higher highs, your vices, and death. But I really want to break this down in a way that kind of makes it more palatable, because a lot of time thinking of death will shoot us into fear. But we're going to talk about the other stuff first, okay? So when we are in one of those low moments, this is when a challenge has come up, or this is preparing us for the challenge. If you think about it, like when something big, an obstacle is coming, or let's just say like you were swallowing food, if it's a big bite, you got to take your time with it, right? If it's a big task, you want to make sure that you spend as much time in it. And so in the same way, our either things slow down or our energy comes really low, where we can see this thing face to face. And sometimes we're too close and it feels like that is the only thing that exists. But life usually will slow down so that you can figure out how to overcome this obstacle. Now, one of my pillars, one of my tenets of life, one of the foundations of my reality is that God gives all the toughest battles to the strongest soldiers, warriors, something like that, right? But essentially, everything that I experience is for me. In the same way that I would say so if it was a beautiful thing that happened and I would call it a miracle, I also consider those lows, those obstacles, those challenges for me. And you have to know that they are, and they were designed for you to overcome. So if you notice that you're repeating a cycle, it's usually because you have not yet learned the lesson to overcome the obstacle. So let's say this problem is an iceberg and we're like on a spiral in this game, right? And on this level, it's like we went up an elevator and we can see the peak. But when we first started, all we saw was this huge base, right? And it was just blocking our entire view. That's kind of what it's like as you learn more and more on the challenges you face. And it might seem like the same thing, but each time you are learning more until you can actually like get over the peak. Usually that's when you have your head above water, when you're no longer in your emotions and you can see something for what it is, but you also can see yourself for who you are, remembering that this is a game, remembering that there is something to be learned from it. And then you can simply like step over it. This is when you walk on water. Message! That brings us into higher highs. One of the best lessons I learned when I was on a trading, when it was popping, because we want to have higher highs and higher lows. So as you start to come to a place where you understand a situation more and more, right? Because that situation doesn't change. You learning about it has expanded your purview. And so now you're a different person facing the situation. And so its experience in your life is not the same anymore. That is now your baseline, right? Whatever you learn from the next level, that's the lowest you can go because you know this thing so well. Unless you lose yourself or unless it was something that was above you, you will no longer go down anymore because it's almost impossible for you to not know something once you've already exposed your mind to it. Once you've already learned the lesson and it's integrated into your subconscious mind. Once you learn these lessons and you apply what you've learned, you only can go up and only experience these obstacles from a higher perspective. All right. So now let's talk about vices. All right. This game is about energy and choices and power and expansion. And our vices are the things that bind us. And y'all, I'm telling you, I have been hooked, okay? I've been hooked, I've been bound at the arm. And remember how I was talking about making a decision? When it comes to vices, they rob us of those. Like we like the thing, but we don't always get to choose when we do the thing. It's like the thing says now, right? And that can take up your time and that could take up your energy. Like let's just say with me, when it was smoking, rolling took time. Then I had time, and then I had eat time, and all of that time could have been like 2 hours before I finally came down from the high. Maybe I could get one thing done. Maybe I go to sleep, but then when I wake up or when I get that thing done, I want to smoke again. And it's like, damn. And vices like this, what they do is they grip. A vice is like a bind, and they're called this for a reason, and the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because they can be challenges in their own, but I just want you to be mindful of your vices because they can be surefire ways of siphoning your energy, and in this way of winning the game, that's your energy is your currency. You want to make sure that you got as much of it as possible, and when you're bound, baby, you're not making the decisions, like you are forfeiting your powers. All vices can be used for good. I do want to make that clear. Like, it's not the thing itself that is the problem. It's when it has power over you. There's a fine line between when I'm in power and when that thing is in power. So just being mindful of where those lines are for me so I know when and when not to cross them. That's something that's been very empowering in my life. And I encourage you to be mindful of when you know where the barriers are between the vice power and your power, and like when they overlap. Okay, now I did mention death. The only thing I want to talk about death is this. I also want you to consider that as a place for transformation, right? Something has been transformed into a different form. That usually means that something new has come in, right? It makes space for either a newer version of yourself or a newer version of that thing that has now been transformed. That doesn't mean you don't have access to that thing. It just means you don't need it in the same way. That also applies to people. And so thinking about the things that you have learned from whatever has passed on or transformed, thinking about how now those things are integrated into you because you've exchanged so much energy with them, and not in a you've taken from them, but in a resonance type of way. Trust that that thing is still with you because, one, being that we are creatures of all that is within us. And since you have had so much interaction with that thing, you now are a carrier of it, okay? Every thought, every idea can be infectious. And if you've been taking high doses of that thing, know that it's time for you to use it in a different way. Know that if that's like my grandma passed away, and thank God I had just started my spiritual journey because I don't know what life will be like without her. And although she's transformed her form, every time I see or remember her in a certain way, I know that I'm supposed to do something in a different way just because of the person that she is. And also, I know that if I'm feeling down, I can always draw on her because she was someone who always rooted for me and put energy in my back, like put a battery in my back, whether it was pride she had for me or just the way that she would say, I love you. I know I can get charged up like pew in a second by using her energy in that way. And I also know that because she's in a different form and it's purely energetic, her spirit is very much so free and flying and cool. So I do have some relief that now she is truly in a better space, right? So yeah, I did want to mention death in that way because I don't want that to be something that also distracts and scares you. It is indeed a tool, and also know that you can always connect to energy, and energy is conscious whether you are aware of it or not, and you can have energy work for you, especially your people. I mean it. But also, let's say it was an inanimate object. It's part of your past, and now you've learned from that thing, and so how can you see that thing in a different form in the new version of your life and use it to your advantage in a similar way that you did in the past? That could be an old job, that could be a type of relationship you have with someone. Just because it's changed forms or just because you've moved on doesn't mean that you can't alchemize the experience to make it work for you, all right? Okay, so now that I've talked about kind of some of the things that can drain your energy, I do want to go into your tools, your toolkit, what you can use to make this experience better for you. So number one is your intuition. Your intuition is that part of yourself that simply knows. Now you have an emotional intuition where you'll experience something and then you'll have a feeling within yourself, and it's gonna be like I feel really sad just hearing that name or hearing that thing. And from that emotion, like there's something within me that has to be dealt with or addressed. Like I've got to get to the root of this thing. But then there's a knowing from your spirit, from your soul, that's like, that means something, and I know it does. Or I've seen this many times, and I need to pay attention to when I see it again, because I know that that's either gonna lead me somewhere that I want to go or that I don't want to go, okay? I'm talking about the signs. And those signs, like I said, are gonna be part of those breadcrumbs. With me, sometimes it's numbers, sometimes it's animals, sometimes it's situations where I feel like I have deja vu. It could be a word, it could be a name, it could be an image, it could be a symbol. But whenever I see this thing or hear or feel this thing, sometimes it sounds for me, right? Like certain sounds, I know what they mean in my reality. And so when I hear them or hear it sound a certain type of way, I'm like, oh, that means it's time for me to focus. Oh, that means that money is on the way. Oh, that means that my ancestors are, present right now. So when I hear these sounds, I'm just like, it's it's time to get into action. It's time for me to get back on my shit. Another great tool in the kit is gonna be your emotions. I already mentioned how we have that intuition or emotional intuition, right? But emotions are energy in motion, right? They can move you. So if you are wanting to propel yourself, knowing how to use your emotional energy to charge you up is going to be key. Knowing when you are charged up is key. That means you have a heightened state of power that is within you in the moment. If you use that toward, like, let's say it's a positive emotion, and you know, that positive emotion maybe came from somebody like, damn girl, your hair looks so good today. But then you heard that shit like 3 more times and you're like, I'm floating, yeah. Well, you also know that you got a term paper or a YouTube video or what do you call it? A course to make. Baby, use that energy that you have to your advantage. Ride that high. Maybe that means that you're supposed to be talking to your man, or you want to get your toes done and you're trying to manifest a free pedicure. Like, use that energy, go within and get real intentional with your actions, with your mannerisms, so that way that energy can work for you. Also works in the reverse. If you have negative energy, or that, not negative energy, if you're experiencing a negative emotion, but your energy is high, meaning like you like inside, but you're not showing it, right? And you know, it's some things that you know need to get out of your life, like you know you need to break some shit down, dismantle it in your reality. You better use that negative energy for your best regard. Like, if it's a text you need to send to that person that is disrespecting you, you better make sure you charge it up. All right, another tool in your toolkit, this one is the most obvious one, is your body. We get so caught up in, oh, I'm a spiritual being, this physical ain't, but actually this is your vehicle, okay? How are you moving in this world is determined by your body. It's not only the presentation and how the world perceives you, but it is also how you process your energy and utilize it in this world. And so making sure that you take care of your body, so that way your body can take care of you and get you to where you're supposed to be, critical. Another thing, the natural world is also a tool for you. Anything that you are doing that is natural or connected to nature, or I'm talking about your natural hair, okay? I'm talking about sitting outside and taking some sunlight in. I'm talking about grass and animals. Those things are true energy, right? Like, they are not manipulated by the world. And so when you can connect with these things, or use, or become like familiar with them, or whatever, interact with them, that energy is a tool for you to connect to the truth of this reality. And usually that will lead you to something with purpose, that will lead you back into alignment with something. That could be a new sign, or it can be something that empowers you. The more in your truth you are, right? Let's say that means getting your skin together, getting your hair together. That means using your real name versus your this. That means whatever is a part of the truth of this reality, use it to your advantage, because it is going to lead you into alignment with more truths of this reality. And usually it's like, this is a dream type of thing, right? You want to be lucid in this dream. And so the more truth that you are connected to, the more the way of things were made that you are connected to, including yourself, the more in alignment you are with you fulfilling your purpose and being your most powerful self, living in your potential energy. So now we want to talk about coins, okay? This means money, this means energy, this means power, okay? Now, in this game of life, your currency is your energy, meaning it is what will allow you to flow with more ease, right? So money in this world is an accumulation of your energy, where you've put your energy and invested your time, attention, love, it usually attracts more energy that compounds until eventually it becomes something that physically manifests as a token for you to use to get more access to the rest of the world. And that's essentially what money and power do. They give you access to choices, to opportunities, to experiences, to people, to information. And you have to make sure that one, you're consistent at whatever you're doing so that way you can get money. Two, you got to make sure that you're investing in things that will pay off. Invest in things that have a return, right? So that not only comes with consistency, that also comes with impulse control. You've got to be able to become more intentional about where you exert your energy, where you invest your time, love, money, okay? All of this has the same concept. So you becoming money or like money, becoming a resource, becoming someone that's consistent, reliable, that people can gain access to this, that, and the third, whether that be information, more resources, more connections, You have to become that. You have to be consistent. You have to be able to hold things down. You gotta be in your power. Also, you being able to, one, accumulate your money, maintain your money, accumulate your energy, maintain your energy, exchange with other highly energetic things that will pay off in the long run for you. This is what coins do for you. This is what energy does. This is the currency of this space. And the more familiar you get with it, the more access you will have to being who you're meant to be, right? And think about it like this: you growing money, you conserving your energy, you exchanging with other highly energetic things, that increases your power. So long as there is energy available, money can be made, power can be accumulated. And you having power is a great thing. You are literally energy, and so much of your energy has been manipulated or taken away or is being siphoned. And so the game is to re-empower yourself, to empower other people, knowing that other people can empower you, knowing that when you are investing in something that is of high quality, when you become something of high quality, valuable, resourceful, you become money, you become powerful, and money becomes attracted to you. You get access to more of this life that allows you more opportunity to meet more people, to connect, and to get to doing the things that you're meant to do. All right, so have faith. All right, that's a big way of upping your energy, conserving your energy, is having faith, working on the impulse control, and knowing that you already are powerful, and so acting like it. Another aspect of the game is the field, all right? Space and time. This is the field, okay? There's a book called The Holographic Universe, and one of the main tenets in the holographic universe is that every single teeny tiny particle of this universe has a blueprint for every single thing in this universe. So as we're talking space and time, know that even in this YouTube video that you're seeing, you can find love, whether that be for yourself or not. Love is an entity, and you can find it in anywhere that you are in, all right? You can find love from the past in your present reality. If you are part of all that is within you. And so knowing that in any area of life, you can find what you need. You always have everything that you need. And so there is no time or space that separates you from everything that you need and everything that you are. You may not be consciously connected to something, but as soon as you make that connection, you can find it in your environment. You can find it through time, right? Baby, I done found some things out through a meditation, okay? And it's a way of bending time. Once you have access to something of the past, you can use that in your future. You can see that in your future. As something that is a part of all that is, you know that if you grew up in a church, God is within and without time, and so are you. God is omnipotent and omnipresent, and so are you. And so another aspect of that is knowing that not only are the things around you, not only is what you want and what you desire around you, it's also within you. So how I said before, like becoming money, when you want money, become valuable, right? Make yourself valuable. If you want love, know that you are love. Start loving on yourself. Know that you have love within you to give to yourself or to give to someone else. If you feel drained by life, start using your energy, all right? Everything that you need is within you, Everything that you need is outside of you. There is nothing in space or time that can connect you from it. So using your field to your advantage, if you feel like there's nothing here for you to be learned, go within, because you need to remember that everything is within you. Okay, so the last thing that you need to know in order to win the game of life, in order to hack this thing, decode it, break it down, here is the key. The game is rigged, okay? Yes, the game is rigged in other ways, but know that even those are distractions. Literally, you have been set up to succeed. And if you ever feel like you have not, know that your perception of any situation can change the way you see it. Instead of seeing the glass half empty, you see it as half full. And you're like, oh, I just have to use my intuition to da-da-da-da-da. I just have to pour back into myself. I just have to start making decisions. I just have to invest my energy here. I just have to remember that my emotions can blah, 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 blah. If you remember that the game is working in your favor, that everything that happens to you is happening for you, that every person, place, thing in your life is a part of you, and that you can use this understanding that you have of yourself in order, like, know that the game is rigged. You have the cheat code. Everything is in you. And if you remember that you can succeed, if you know that all that it takes is for you to focus on a thing, all right? As it goes to directing your energy, learning how to focus, learning how to concentrate, and making what you will pay attention to intentional, you will only win. That simply can mean like filling your head with how to be successful things and then practicing those habits, right? Just know that wherever your attention flows, that's where the energy goes. Meaning, knowing that the game is rigged for you, just thinking that way will help you to become aware of solutions. That is a part of our mind. That is the way that things work. The more that we pay attention to something, the more it comes up for us, right? So you want to focus on success, you got to put success in your mind, right? Put your own success in your mind. Just saying I'm successful. Put successful in your mind by listening to videos on how to get successful. Put success in your mind by Same thing for purpose. Same thing for money. Same thing for power. Same thing for your mood. How do you get these things? By putting what you want into it. How do you remember that even in the low situations, you can win this game? By remembering and telling yourself and repeating yourself until you just know on autopilot, aka it has now infiltrated your subconscious mind through repetition and symbolism, that you already won, okay? One of the things I always tell myself is I already won, I'm already forgiven. And it's not even an already, I won, I've won, I'm forgiving, I remember. Like I say just that, like it doesn't have to come with anything else. I remember, I won, I'm forgiven, because guilt was a big part of my programming. I love, I am grateful, I won, I figured it out, I remember. Focusing your intention and your attention on what is for you. That also means being mindful of where you give your attention that is not in alignment with where you want to be, okay? You hate the way that, let's say, the election turned out. Why are you still watching election shit there? That's none of your business no more. Your business is your success. You feel like the game is rigged? Become the person that changes the rules, okay? Get on your mission, all right? Know that the game is rigged. Rig it in your favor, okay? It's already there. Connect with that reality. It already exists because it is a part of all that is. And my good God made sure that we got access to it all. Do you feel me? All right, family. This is it, okay? It's time for us to get active. As you can see, the world is changing. These old systems are now breaking down. What you thought was real, baby, was an illusion. And so now it's time for you to get to work, okay? Become the change you, man in the mirror. It's time for you to put your cape on, sis. Save yourself, sir. Save yourself. It's time for you to get active. You are powerful, and it's time for you to put that power back in your hands. It's time for you to take it back. Cut the ties with the Matrix, all right? We breaking down the game. You no longer see the fairy tale. Now you got those little, those glasses on where you can see things for yourself. That's the perspective, okay? Now your vision is clear. No more rose-colored glasses, all right? If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to go deeper into any one of these subjects, let me know. If there was any part of this video that really stood out to you, let me know. If you want to make a pledge to yourself that you're going to implement one of these ideas or several of them, make it known in the comments. The words that you speak come from your inner reality and are manifest in the physical reality. So whatever you can speak over your life, whatever you can announce, put that shit out there. We as humans are more likely to follow through on the plans that we announce to other people, because like I said, at some level we know that we're accountable to the rest of this world. When you lie to yourself, when you lie to the world, you lie to yourself. And that is one of the biggest ways to smallen your energy, to make your energy smaller. And like I said, we about expanding. So if you gonna put it in that comment section, you're gonna mean it and you gonna follow through on it, okay, family? Because it's not really just about having the information. We show our gratitude not by saying thank you. We show it by putting what we know into action and making that a reality in this world, all right? One more time, or not one more time, but I do want to give a big old shout out to my great amazing God. I want to give a big old shout out to my great amazing self, to my ancestors, to my guides, to my gods, to the voiceless and the choiceless, those who have passed on that didn't yet know how to use their voices, those who have passed on that did not know their power and that they did to decide what they're doing. All of us will be working for y'all. Y'all will be working through us. We are the eyes, the ears, the hands, and the feet of God. And we are going to come together to make this reality what we say it's going to be, what we know is true for ourselves, right? So that's all that I got for y'all today. I love y'all just like I love me. And that's why I'm going to give y'all the truth that has been impressed upon my heart and my mind. I will see y'all soon, okay? Peace.